At this point, I think we can all accept the fact that Overwatch is in its worst state ever over the past year, but for some reason IGN decided to upload a video claiming that Overwatch is a literal masterpiece, and now as someone who's wasted hundreds of hours on this game due to it being the only game my friends on console played, I can tell you, it is not a good game, and it is far from it. Just from the comment section alone, you can see how awful this review was, but then if you also look at the like to dislike ratio, it's even more clear that this was a truly terrible review of Overwatch. So without further delay, let's take a look at why Overwatch is supposedly pure perfection.
After 4 years and one IGN Game of the Year award, Overwatch has evolved into a multiplayer shooter that remains at the top of the class.
I don't quite know what this guy thinks top of the class is, but when I think top of the class first person shooters, I think of games like Titanfall 2, not fucking Overwatch. Over the years, Overwatch has progressively just gotten worse, but somehow this guy thinks it can still be considered a top tier shooter.
It's a dizzying amalgam of unique character design, stunningly realised style, and compellingly dynamic action. Minutes turn into hours as you're caught up in round after magically exciting round, surrounded by gorgeously crafted maps packed with detail and charm. Overwatch, simply put, is the most fun I've ever had playing a video game.
I couldn't begin to imagine Overwatch being the most fun video game I've ever played. I feel sympathy for the dude. There is no way in hell he has ever played a game other than Overwatch if he's having more fun in it than any other game. I mean, the role lock system basically ruined the game and fucked up matchmaking beyond belief to the point Overwatch just became a struggle for me to enjoy.
When we originally reviewed Overwatch in 2016, we called it an incredible achievement in multiplayer shooter design.
I really don't get why IGN, even in 2016 when the game was actually good, would call Overwatch an incredible feat in multiplayer design, since it was basically a remake of Team Fortress 2 when it launched. Nothing about Overwatch has ever been incredible if we are being honest, and over time it's just gotten worse.
And even while it's dramatically expanded its roster of distinctive characters and maps since then, none of what made it truly special has changed.
Stop the cap! Stop the cap right now! Stop the cap!
What is this man smoking because I want some of it? How can you unironically claim that what made Overwatch great in 2016 hasn't changed? The role lock system, as I mentioned earlier, is a perfect example of Blizzard changing something which made Overwatch so great. And by adding role lock matchmaking, they fucked up what was so great about Overwatch. As well as that, Blizzard also caused the meta for Overwatch at the time to become broken, as it usually does whenever Overwatch receives an update.
It still centers around taking and controlling points on the map or escorting payloads from one end to the other, all at the expense of the enemy team's health bars. It's a simple setup and not an altogether original one, but it's the nuance found in how you go about winning each match that makes Overwatch so brilliant.
Is this man really trying to claim that the lack of gameplay diversity is what makes Overwatch so great? You really can't make this shit up. He's looking for any way to slob on the knob of Blizzard. I feel like I'm watching an 8-minute advert.
This is a universe bursting with character, not least displayed in the 32 characters themselves. Blizzard has created a world where anything goes and everything flourishes. The robust Reinhardt harks from a high fantasy setting familiar from past Blizzard games.
The cyber-drenched Sombra is science fiction incarnate and wouldn't look out of place on the streets of Night City.
To be honest, I do see the link between them. Cyberpunk 2077 is a broken mess, and Sombra also used to be a broken mess. One got hacked and the other hacks things as well, so I can't lie. The comparison between Cyberpunk 2077 and Sombra has aged like fine wine.
Then there's the wise and occasionally wild Winston, who could pass as a gorilla cosplaying as Beast from X-Men.
Brigitte with her centuries-old mace that's partnered with an energy shield that feels airlifted from a different era of existence.
You've got to love the irony of him praising Brigitte because she was completely broken at launch and then Blizzard nerfed her into oblivion. I mean, she is one of the best examples of Blizzard having absolutely no idea what they're doing when it comes to balancing heroes within Overwatch.
The geneticist Moira can summon biotic orbs from her palms, and then evade all incoming damage by fading onto an ethereal plane. Then there's Wrecking Ball, a maniacal hamster that rolls around in a spherical mech of death, flanked by 2 chattering machine guns. It's all a bit delightfully mad.
I really don't get why you spent about a minute discussing random heroes, and to be completely honest, I don't even understand the point of making an Overwatch review in 2020. Everyone already knows what they're getting into when buying Overwatch, and it's not like people have been asking for an updated review on Overwatch anyway.
The final hero until Overwatch 2, Echo, recently joined the party, and her ultimate is a real game changer.
Once again, Echo was another character who launched in a completely overpowered and broken state. Her ultimate ability was super spammable as well, which makes him praising her so incredibly ironic. This review might as well have been sponsored by Blizzard, to be honest.
Echo can take the form of any member on the other team and use all of their abilities, and that lets you effectively have two of the same hero on your team, which we haven't been allowed to do in years. It's somewhat fitting that the last addition to the roster echoes back to how Overwatch was originally played when it came out in 2016.
Wait a minute, I thought you said that what makes Overwatch so great hasn't changed over the years.
None of what made it truly special has changed.
Now I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sure role lock did greatly change the way Overwatch was played, and it also greatly changed what made Overwatch quote unquote special when it launched in 2016.
This is, in essence, the beauty of Overwatch. It offers choice in abundance.
How in the fuck does Overwatch offer choice in abundance when you can't have more than one of the same character being played at once on your team, and when the role lock system blocks you from choosing to make your team how you want to make it?
And even after 700 hours played, there are still heroes I'm not overly familiar with.
Jesus Christ, I'm starting to get why this guy might think Overwatch is so great. Maybe after wasting 700 hours on such a mediocre game, he's trying to come up with any excuse to prove he didn't waste his money and time, in order to boost his ego, which must be extremely low after putting 700 hours into Overwatch. I mean, I'd go insane as well if I had that many hours in the game.
Not every character is for everyone though, and that's absolutely fine. And to an extent, that's the point of Overwatch. There's an avenue for any type of player to find an accessible hero.
Yeah, that's only true if Blizzard hasn't decided to nerf your main into oblivion in one of their self-proclaimed balance patches.
Find someone you click with, and before you'll know it, you'll be earning plays of the game, the automatically chosen moment of a match that's replayed for everyone at the end. Watching back these pivotal moments never fails to put a smile on my face, even to this day.
My god, this guy is even sucking off Overwatch just for adding something Call of Duty has had for about a decade.
By far the biggest fundamental improvement during Overwatch's 4-year lifespan is the long requested and relatively recently introduced role lock system.
Is he seriously going to try and argue that the role lock system is good? The fact he thinks the role lock system is good baffles me, to be honest. All it does is limit how you can play the game whilst increasing queue times for matches at the same time. In no world is the role lock system good.
What you may lose in flexibility from being limited to 2 characters from each class, you gain in a more satisfyingly balanced experience. It's worth the longer matchmaking times to not suffer the horror of consistently being on an unbalanced team. I have to admit that I was skeptical of role queue when it was first announced, but I couldn't be happier to have been wrong.
And if the chaos of old is what you're craving, then classic quick play still exists in the arcade section of the menu for that dose of anarchic nostalgia.
The queue times in my experience for arcade mode are insanely long, and there's pretty much no one playing them. If you want to know pain, just try and queue up for one of the modes in the arcade section of Overwatch.
The iridescent universe that Overwatch inhabits is clear to see within seconds of booting up. Each map has its own colourful twist on a realish world location that varies from moonlit London streets to a colony on the moon. It's embellishments like that set Overwatch's map pool apart from other multiplayer games, while also providing informative ornamentation for anyone willing to look a little closer. They're not only breathtaking to look at, but also brilliantly designed on a gameplay level. The launch maps were great, and all of the new additions have been a roaring success.
From the beautiful Blizzard world that is laden with references to the studio's other games,
I think it's a bit of a stretch to say the map design in Overwatch is good. I mean, if you just play on Blizzard World for a few minutes, you'll realise how annoying and frustrating it is to play on. The entire map is basically just a choke point for both sides, and it's extremely irritating to play on. The fact it's a payload map doesn't help at all, since you're basically forced into constantly standing in the middle of choke points. Overall, the map designs for Overwatch range from terrible to mediocre at best.
the lone exception in my judgment is the recently introduced Paris map, which has a single choke point that could be less than fun to make your way through.
If he doesn't like the Paris map, then I really can't grasp why he loved Blizzard World so damn much, other than it being Blizzard World.
Knowing where to pull off a devastating ultimate ability can turn a game in your favour in an instant.
Oh my god, that's almost like every other game with things like ultimate abilities and kill streaks. Although I do have to say I agree with him here, no matter what game you're playing, clutching matches with well-placed ultimates will always be fun, and it's one of the few fun things in Overwatch that hasn't been completely ruined by Blizzard yet.
Overwatch is a one-of-a-kind hero shooter that is far and away the best of its genre.
See, that would be impressive in any other genre, but when it comes to hero-based shooters, Overwatch doesn't really have any competition, and the competition Overwatch does have isn't exactly good. The only exception to this is Team Fortress 2, which is still going fairly strong after being around since 2007.
It offers variety, depth, and style that very few come close to matching. Its 4-year-old foundation has been lovingly crafted into the unparalleled multiplayer experience that it offers today. From its now cherished characters, expertly crafted maps, and outstanding sound design, it's a masterpiece of competitive gameplay. Most importantly of all though, it's never stopped being ridiculously fun after all these years. All of these factors combine to make Overwatch a singularly special shooter, and one that I would recommend to anyone without hesitation.
Now we have finally come to the end of IGN's frankly awful review of Overwatch, so for anyone that's reached this far into my video, thank you for that. But before I end the video, I do want to mention that if anyone is looking for a response to Bonza's 4th video on me, you can find it on my Twitter as well as in my Discord server. The link for both of those will be in the description, and I'll put my response up on screen right now for anyone who's too lazy to visit either of those places. Overall, Bonza's videos on me were full of misinformation and lies, as well as that most of his arguments have already been disproven by myself in my 2nd video on him, so that's why I won't be making a response video to his 1st, 3rd and 4th video on me, since it's frankly not video worthy, and I just end up playing old clips to disprove his arguments. Plus I'm pretty sure the guy's mentally unstable, which as I said on Twitter, I'm not trying to make him any more unstable than he already is. The last thing I want to mention is how he still has a community posted up about search hubs with blatant misinformation in, which he fully well knows is misinformation, since he unbanned one of those people he thought was search hubs' alt account. But he probably won't take the community post down and apologise to search hubs for blatantly lying about him, because it wouldn't fit the very strange narrative Bonza is trying to create that search hubs, a 13-year-old, is supposedly bullying Bonza when he's a grown-ass man at 23 years old, who sent his fanbase to harass search hubs first. Now with all of that said, I hope you all enjoyed my video, and if you did, please do not forget to smash that like button, subscribe, as well as comment, so that I will see you all in my next video.